Now, how about you tell me in detail about the earnest love of yours? Lucky for you, we have plenty of time, you know. I couldn't escape it. Eleanor seemed to have no intention of letting me escape. And above all, I knew myself that escaping from her past was impossible. But it was by no means a bad feeling. I'd been leaning away, but in the end I gave up, sat up my chair, and started talking bit by bit about Hagana. Reese's opinion of Eleanor, but she looked like a sort who'd sit in a stone castle spinning tales of love for a century or two, wasn't far off a mark. Seeing how she got into a story with Hagana was truly a sight to behold. But it was that curiosity that allowed me to remember all the happier parts of my time with Hagana. Every time I brought up something that seemed normal to me, Eleanor would choke, flush bright red, and wave a hand for me to stop. I felt like I could finally see how much I loved Hagana. I've never seen a love story like that even on Earth. I didn't realise she was dressed like that. She really dressed like a princess. Eleanor finally uttered that, sweating profusely. I'm sure Hagana really loved you too. And then she said that. After that, she opted out of more tea in favour of cold sparkling water. It was as if she needed a cool drink before she could go on. I don't think that has changed. But I haven't heard from her in 8 years. Even with my great assistance. I cursed myself as I realised I'd just given Eleanor more ammunition to annoy me with. I'm only guessing, but I'm sure that Hagana knows about you, Hal. Huh? It's just that she didn't contact you. That means neither Risa nor I. Maybe it's because she's aware of just how hard you're looking for her. From everything you've told me, she's a very reserved person. Who? Hagana? I've never seen anyone so accustomed to insulting people and calling them idiots. As I retorted, Eleanor quirked the corners of her lips in an odd expression. I realised she was giggling with amazement. Eleanor sighed and started sipping her sparkling water with a straw. It's not a straw, it's an emergency induction port. To think you were holding each other's hands in bed. Eleanor wriggled, smiling. It's kind of embarrassing having that repeated back to me. After enjoying herself for a while, she said this in a carefree mood. Maybe she's actually really close to you. She just can't reach out. Close to me? Hagana? That's just a nice supposition. A hunch I'm having. Hagana, close to me. Well, it's no surprise that wouldn't occur to you. Okay, I guess I understood why she was talking, although this was partially my fault. But now I think I see why Risa's so affectionate with you. Always a boy. She looked like Risa, smiling mischievously, or maybe it was to do with the fact that she had an intelligence far behind her years. Had am-intelligence. It doesn't really sound impressive if you call it am-intelligence. However, this might not be the case. The whole thing of a lunar surface elite buying up people for their skills. Earth wasn't too happy about it either. So Hagana really has. I think it quite likely. Strife revolutions or resource distribution problems, or discord that lasted for centuries. People are still fighting on these over Earth. People get dragged into all sorts of messes because of that. That's why, even though greed runs on the show here, it's all limited to greed on the lunar surface. People on the Earth are quite envious. It's true that from this angle, the lunar surface looked very stable. Sometimes corporate collusions or price cartels were discovered. Those exposed by people motivated by greed, not by any sort of official organisation. And even though those people were as driven as mutual dislike as they were greed, but never allow anyone to feed off that. There were no mafious type of organisations here, partly because our strict ID checks were just to get in, and partly because there was nowhere to hide. And likely though is because so many people saw the lunar surface as their utopia. If something were to get in the way of that, everyone would just unite to dispose their common enemy. That was just the sort of place this was. I'm sure that if Avalon's situation had happened on Earth, we wouldn't have gotten this out of it unscathed. She said that without hesitation. It's true, Barton did express that possibility. Their appeal was rejected, and they got put in jail, right? Yes, most administrators. With one exception. Barton alone managed to escape. But even though he knew full well how to work with his money and influence, he opted not to go by the general lunar surface creed of following one's convictions. This is why the lunar surface is a nice place. But the more you're here, the less able you are to see how eccentric it is. Observe things with a wide-spanning viewpoint. That's what research forced me to away to a lunar surface. Changing topic for a bit, I'm very pleased with how Marco is progressing. We also talked to Eleanor about ABS. She was my comrade in the fight against Avalon, and even though I'd come to realise what I was doing was most likely to only draw mockery from society, I expected her to validate my actions. But she only gave a brief acknowledgements. Occasionally as taught mostly listening silently as a soft smile on her face. It was like a mother listening to a child, as a child spoke completely serious about a monster outside a window. It's not easy feat to defeat people's expectations. I do think you are knowledgeable about the market, but I also consider myself as such. Or rather, I consider myself more knowledgeable about fraudulent companies that have stayed with us for unreasonably long periods of time. Don't you need the Susie Woo get up for this? I made a token attempt at fighting back. Honestly, those days are behind me. I am a dignified lady. Sorry, didn't mean to be rude. The hard part about defeating people's expectations, you see, is that most people aren't inclined to give them up. Obsession. Precisely. The worst thing in investment is obsession. They do say that stock will accept any owner, right? No matter how much you love or pour into your stocks, they'll betray you at the first opportunity. So you think housing is the same? Do you? She smiled and gave a dumbfounded sigh. You really are a man of a lunar surface, Hal. Born and bred. What do you mean by that? You have no idea how much Earth admires the lunar surface. After waiting for my reaction for a moment, Eleanor resumed talking. This is literally a place beyond the clouds, a new world. Living there is a dream, and succeeding there is an even bigger dream. It's the same for people unable to leave their homeland. You might think of them as a country bumpkins, but are you aware that doing business on the lunar surface gives you a degree of status? She squinted at me, as though chiding for an ignorant child. Why do you think so many investment funds and the like exist? People want to get involved in what goes on the lunar surface. Of course, there are profits to be gained, but those expectations are also part of a dream. The lunar surface is a land of dreams. A land of dreams, huh? Yes, which is why in your case, predicting when a bubble will burst is the same as predicting when people will give up on their dreams. And you of all people should know just how hard it is for people to give up on their dreams. Besides, it's a fact that price hasn't fallen even once. I've even entertained thoughts of investing. The price does keep rising after all. You're able to stop yourself because you can feel it in your guts, in your very bones. There's some sort of deception looming. Conversely, if this wasn't the case, you wouldn't even be able to oppose this flow. I thought back to a branch office of New Age development. I've seen a revival gate of the orbital base. People shook their heads upon seeing the price of the electronic signboard. I knew what that meant. Earth people thought the lunar surface was crazy. But what if Eleanor said was true? It might also be them acknowledging just how out of their reach the lunar surface was. Cognitive bias. And spinning your wheels, spewing rhetoric. I think you understand it logically, but it's clear you still can't give it up. Eleanor's words shook me so hard it made my chest ache. But even when she wore that faint smile, I could tell she was serious. Her eyes peered into my heart, slowly yet deeply. Now, I wonder why that could be. Why indeed? I was in awe. I couldn't answer. Shouldn't you be able to find a reason for not giving up? You're right, but one calls such things fetters. She just wrists in one breath, smiling. I am not a responsible party, so I cannot say what I like. Oh, wait, that's not entirely true. I do have some involvement since I introduced Bacchus to you. Seems Marco's defending it just fine. Out of curiosity, then, what's driving you? I can't help but just repress a giggle when I remember just how reliable your investments have been over the last few years. Even though you really were going to pursue your goals until you died. I'm a bit jealous of how serious and sincere you are too. I felt the urge to nod at H. Eleanor's points. After defeating Avalon, I was confident that I had not been lying to myself. I was confident too that I had been diligent in piling up my achievements and reaching my goal. And yet here you are, bewitched by incredible risks like some crazed gambler. And I wonder, what's the cause? After she said her piece, her mouth shut itself. She smiled, her cheeks puffed out with repressed laughter. Eleanor already knew why. She knew and she was laughing. But why? Was there something so obvious that from outside? Or if that was the case, I already had the answer inside of me, somewhere. But what was it? Was it because, as Marco said, I could outwit a market dominated by maths? Because I could give a huge boost to a housing project? Because I wouldn't be able to outwit the cattle? I knew each of those were plausible reasons, but that was not it. But all in my reach and not to boast if I wanted to. I could achieve all of those in a day if I put my mind to it. So then, which way did my path lead? What did I think would await me after piling and stacking profits according to my convictions? The thing hidden at the bottom of my heart. So that I could kindle a flame strong enough for me to lose myself in an unbelievable scenario of ABS collapsing. Yes. Deep in my heart, there was something waiting to burn. What is it? I should be able to know. I must have known what it was. I checked my memories. I went beyond 4 years ago. I must have been aiming for this goal in the past. Back when I was a young boy, so pointlessly enamoured with mankind's first footsteps on the lunar surface. And I've been aiming for this goal with all my strength. Even Mars was not my ultimate goal. My goal was an untrodden land. Eleanor cocked a glass and giggled at my muttering. Then put down the glass in her hand and she took out a handkerchief and put it closer to me. As I looked at her handkerchief in her hand, Eleanor rose a bit and touched my cheek with it. How could you forget this one thing? When you can't even forget about Hagana. Besides, it's not like you actually had forgotten about it. She gave a shrug and smiled. Did you ever look back at the trade data from Lunar Surface Stock Exchange? Taken aback by the question, I shook my head. I wiped away the tears that had begun to spill from my eyes. You're like a different person. You're too grown up. You're too grown up until now, Hal. Me? Too grown up? There is a bad way of putting it. Let's just say instead of you were like a tiger waiting for the opportunity to pounce on its prey. Sharpening your fangs, you had a sight set on your goal. With almost care and steady steps, you were preparing yourself without letting anything sway you. And that state of your mind has become natural for me? And upon seeing what you're after, you jumped at it with resolution. Everyone around you is so used to seeing you take care of your preparations, I was surprised. And since you knew how steadily the people around you observed you, their surprise surprised you. You were like, huh? And her smiled as she was enjoying herself. For the first time in several years, I felt blood rushing to my cheeks. Rather than embarrassment, I felt alive with a strange feeling of ease. Investment is no gamble. It is an action that a lot of people take to confirm how right their decisions are. Investments are made up of a lot of people's emotions. That's why it's so easy to tell what you're thinking. When you invest, that is you feel ashamed when you lose. Am I wrong? She asked if she was wrong, using the very words I used on Chris. This is why they must have thought you'd gone crazy, since those investments are too different from your investment stance from the past few years. I can understand why you'd rack your brain so hard you'd wear yourself out, since you thought you were simply obeying your goals and convictions. People around you were surprised. I suppose you started wondering whether or not what you were doing really was that crazy. Am I crazy? No, I'm not. Then what is crazy? The people around me? That is what you must have asked yourself. I listened to Eleanor's words. They poured over me, slowly yet crystal clear, like a refreshing shower the first thing in the morning. I didn't talk back. I didn't think as I listened, because the words was penetrating my heart with no resistance whatsoever. So, I just do it. Just do it! I don't know the entirety of that speech, but I could really put that meme right at the end of this video here, couldn't I? Bye bye.